how many teams did you say were like 2-8 before this week? You said like 9. What was the number that you said like before
Yeah,
this?
I think it was 9 teams that were 2-8.
9 teams, 2-8. There's a lot of bad football teams right now, and obviously, I mean, there's going to be a large market of coaches that are going to get fired. I think it's pretty safe to say that like the Bears, like Eberflus is going to get fired, Doug Peterson's going to get fired.
Yeah.
Um, Mike McCarthy's trending on that direction to get fired. It seemed like Jerry wanted to make that decision last season and ultimately went against it. But there is a few names that are out there, but the one that carries the most weight, who means the most, the greatest coach of our generation, since me and you have been alive at least,
Yeah.
and is Bill Belichick. So what we're going to do is we both have one team that we think that Bill Belichick is going to be the head coach of this next upcoming football season, and one team that we think makes absolutely no sense for Bill Belichick to be the head coach of this season. And Noah, how about you go first? Who do you like Bill Belichick to be the head coach of for the 2025 football season?
Can I be honest with you? It was
Yeah.
tough. It was really tough, and I wrote a few teams down. Before I go into um my pick, I wrote down a few things to consider, like jumping into the mind of Bill Belichick, because he's 72. He's, like you said, he's already the greatest coach of our generation. I don't really think there's anything left for him to prove as far as resume, as far as record goes. Um, so I think there's going to be a long list of things that he has to check off internally before he goes and makes a decision as to if he wants to be a NFL head coach again.
What
Here's
real
a few
quick
things.
before you go in it, he is 26 wins away from Don Shula's all-time winning record for most wins
That's
ever as a head coach.
that is taken into consideration with the list of things that I have written down here.
Proceed.
Okay, so this isn't like in order, but I can tell you which ones are probably lower in the list of questions. So first, I have quarterback play. I think that he's going to go to a place that either already has somewhat of an established quarterback at the an established guy at the position, or is going to go to a team where they pretty much just need a quarterback and or would pick a quarterback in this upcoming draft. Next, I have front office IQ. I think that he's dealt with the I don't know if it was necessarily his doing towards the end of his season or towards the end of his
He
Patriots
was
career,
the GM.
where he was yeah, okay, that's what I was kind of getting at. If he was making those decisions, which it sounds like he was, I think he wants to go to a place where he trusts the front office to go out there and bring in quality players, because I don't think he quite has that eye for um um
Talent.
talent. Not necessarily, like, maybe not talent, but like scouting. I don't know if he has the scouting eye anymore. I think there's obvious choice. Like, I think there's obvious guys that a lot of us can sit here and say, well, look, are going to be good, but regardless. Um, my third thing is willingness to bring in talent and spend money. I don't know if he's going to want to go to a team that needs to bring in a ton of new players, or has to spend a lot of money. And if that's lower on his list of things to consider, I think he wants to make sure where he can go to a situation that, hey, we know where we're inefficient. We are willing to spend the money. We have the money to spend. You tell us what positions you think we need to improve in, and we can work together to bring in better quality players. That sort of ties in with the next one with roster construction. Um, so I'll leave that as that. Um, I think the lower on the totem pole is the division. Um, I don't. One of the things that I went back and forth with is, would he go to a team in the AFC East? I don't really know if that matters to him if the other list of criteria are met and are in place. That kind of goes with the next thing, coaching staff. Is he going to want to bring in his own guys, or is he going to want to go into a situation where they have a good guy at OC, they have a proven guy at DC, or is he going to want to go in there completely clean house? And is that team going to let him? Is that team that he would want to go to going to let him go in there and just completely bring in his entire staff of guys? And then lastly, is this job better than hanging out with my 23-year-old girlfriend?
I think to that last point, yes. I think no matter what, he wants to go back coaching. I think Bill is a historian of the game. He loves the game of football, and I think it means the absolute most to him to get that all-time winning record as a head coach.
All right, let me rattle you. Can I rattle you off where I don't think he's going to go first?
Yeah, you just have one, right?
I'll just do. I have a couple, but
don't say all of them because I want to. If I have mine,
no, I don't want to take yours. I don't want to take yours. I think a team that he will not go to is the New York Giants.
Okay, why is that? He loves the Giants.
He loves the Giants.
He cried walking through the hallways of the Giants. You remember that, right?
I was not there, so no.
Okay, he cried.
I'll tell you why. I think their front office is a bunch of morons. I think they've proven that they don't know how to manage a roster. I think that their offensive line is bad. Their quarterback is bad. He's going to be gone. I also don't really know if they're going to fire Daboll, because Daboll's just been given an absolutely terrible offensive roster outside of. I mean, they did bring it. The guy they drafted this year, Tracy, has been good, but when you're handicapped at quarterback
Malik
that
Neighbors.
much, and Malik Neighbors, yeah, I figured that was without saying. When you're handicapped that much at quarterback, I just don't think that Brian Daboll is completely at fault for this. I think he's at fault for not building some type of culture in this locker room in New York. But with the talent that they have, and then that front office doubling down and signing Daniel Jones, and then not bringing back Saquon of some sort. I think that it's just a complete shit show in that front office, and I don't know. They're going to have a low pick. I don't know if quarterback is exactly what this Giants team should draft with their first overall pick. I think they need an offensive line.
My first thing that needs to get addressed, I need to put pushback on, is this notion that Bill Belichick spent 27 years as a general manager in the NFL. He did it with the Browns, and he spent his entire tenure with the Patriots as a general manager and the head coach. So why would this be different now? Why would he not act as a general manager and the head coach? I feel like that is a non-negotiable wherever he goes to be the head coach next. He absolutely will act as the de facto general manager and the head coach, no matter what. I think it's a non-negotiable.
I think that even proves my point of him not going to the Giants even more. I think they'll be too selfish with who they have in place that they won't want to give up that to Bill Belichick. That's just because I have how bad I think their front office is. I think they're just complete morons, and I don't think they can tell their left from the right.
I think Joe Shan is actually on the hot seat. Second, though, I think Brian Daboll is actually on the hot seat as well. You lose to the Panthers, it's got to be a wake-up call a little bit. So
fair.
I want to see how this plays out. I want to see how this plays out first off. The absolute reason why he will not be a head coach for the New York Giants, I completely agree with you on that. He is not going to win with them. Why would he go to a place where he does not have a quarterback in place, a a solid quarterback in place that he knows that he can win with. He's 20, 23, 26 wins away from the all-time winning coach. He is not there to play babysitter and develop a quarterback. So I'm right there with you. I do not think that he will be the head coach of the New York Giants.
All right. Is that who you had as your no?
No.
Okay.
My
ahead.
no is the Dallas Cowboys.
I had that on my list too.
There's a lot of people that it makes a ton of sense. Jerry's going to hire the star, this, that, and the third. These owners have such an issue with allowing their coaches, their players, whoever it might be, allowing them to soak in the reasoning why they are the reasoning for they want to be, the owners want to be the reason why the team is
good. Yep.
And I think that they highlighted this on Bill Simmons' pod, if I remember correctly, or maybe it wasn't Bill Simmons. Whoever said this, and it was a very good point. Jerry Jones is still upset about the 90s with Jimmy John. They held a grudge against each other for like 20 plus years, and they just mended their relationship like last year, and he brought them all those Super Bowls. He started like, how about them Cowboys, like stuff like that. He made that franchise as relevant as it possibly was, made it worth what it is now. And Jerry Jones, at this point in his tenure, the back half of his tenure, which has looked like an absolute shit show, he wants all the credit. He wants to be the guy doing the deals. He wants to be the guy signing the contracts, making picks in the draft, doing this, that, and the third. But he can't do it because he's proven that he can't do it. And I think that it's the exact same reason why he won't hire Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick will come in and want a ton of control. He wants all the say. He wants to do the contracts. He wants to get the personnel. He wants to run the team. And I think Jerry Jones's pride right now, unless if he, God forbid, rest his soul, if he passes away,
that's the only way.
Bill Belichick will not be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys just strictly because of the ego. I mean, look at what's going on with Robert Kraft right now. Robert Kraft is old, fired Bill Belichick, and then has just gone on an absolute hate tour, making a documentary about like how bad it was with Bill, trying to take all the credit for the reason that they won the championships, this, that, and the third. It's sad. And I just think that these owners, where if they were successful for a long period of time, and these guys are ultra rich, these guys have people in their ear, they pay attention to everything that's said about them. Whenever you talk about the Patriots, you talk about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. You do not talk about Robert Kraft. And Robert Kraft wants a way to figure out how to make it about himself. Same exact thing with the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones later in his life, trying to make the franchise and what's going on, instead of about winning, about himself, and he wants to be the reason why. And I think that that's going to be a major blip in the way that they go about hiring their next head coach. I think that's why he hired McCarthy, honestly, because he's kind of a softer guy, like he's not a big personality. And I think that I just think that it's completely off the table for Bill, even though the mold makes sense.
The mold of the Dallas Cowboys fits it checks more boxes of things that I listed than the Giants does. I think Cowboys definitely have a better quarterback. I think at least right now they have a better roster before Dak got hurt, better roster and all these other injuries, better roster construction than the Giants.
No doubt.
I think that this is they'll win more games with Dallas than he would with the Giants. So I think that makes more sense. I think it would make more sense as opposed to those two teams, but either way, I don't think he ends up in Dallas.
How about before you go into the team that you think he's going to coach, and just give like a surface level read off some of the other teams that you don't think make much sense?
Well, I have the Giants, I have the Cowboys, I have the Browns.
Fair.
I thought that I think Kevin Stefanski is a very good head coach, and the deck that he's been dealt is completely out of his control.
And no QB.
Yeah, that's That's like what I meant. Like they don't have a quarterback. Jameis Winston's not the future. They're just stuck paying a guy that's can't play quarterback anymore. Another team that I had that I don't think fits this mold is the Raiders. I just don't think there's enough talent on that team.
Completely fair. No quarterback.
No quarterback.
In the same division as Sean Payton and Patrick Mahomes
Yeah.
and Andy Reid.
I don't think that fits the mold for him either. I had the Falcons, but because that's a team that was talked about at the beginning of the year. I just think the Falcons are going to win too many football games, and I think that Raheem Morris has done a good enough job to keep his job.
Completely agree.
I have the Bears as a no as well. I think they need to bring in an offensive minded head coach into Chicago. And wasn't there a video already saying that Bill Belichick didn't think Caleb Williams was going to be good in the NFL? I think that's probably not a great start.
I agree with you. I think it was more of just like he's not accurate. Like I want to see him do it full season. He was just like more like cautious of him.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's still probably enough. I also think the Bears front office is just absolutely like the ownership is so bad. And I think they need to bring in an offensive minded head coach. And on top of that, I just don't think they're going to win enough football games. I don't think it's that enticing of a job for him to want to say, yes, okay, let me be the one that fixes Caleb Williams and fixes this offense. I don't think he's ever been that guy, nor will he be if he were to go there.
I think that's fair.
Saints are a no. I just don't think anybody wants any part of that.
No quarterback.
That situation. I think that's. I mean, I didn't even think about this, but I don't think he's. I actually pivoted my answer mid conversation. The more that I thought about this, because this team, as I began to consider the things that I wrote down, fits this less and less. I had the Jets as the team that I thought he would go to, but as we worked through this, I'm listing them as a no.
He also hates the Jets. They did him dirty, and he'll never probably coach there. So that's also
that. I think he doesn't want to deal with Aaron Rodgers in this situation. I don't think their front office is very smart.
And you heard what he said about them. He was like, Woody Johnson, like, it's just a revolving door around there. That's just like what they do over there. Like he just throwing shots. Like
yeah, correct. He was slandering them up and down. So I think they're off the table. So I can share my team that I think he goes to now.
Go ahead.
I think Bill Belichick will be the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I mean, that's who I have.
Are you shitting me?
No, I swear. I literally have the Jacksonville Jaguars as my team who's going to be the head coach of next. I swear on my life.
I mean, I think it makes the most sense.
It makes the most sense, and I think like
they have the best roster out of all of those teams that I just mentioned from head to toe. They have a guy in place at quarterback. Yeah. I think he can go in there and completely wipe out the coaching staff, and nobody in Jacksonville will think twice about it. I think they're pretty much just I know they're 2-8, but I think with Bill Belichick, he can automatically go in there and bring some type of culture. I think they have guys on defense. I think they have talent on offense.
I was just about to say,
their coaching has been horrible.
I want to highlight the defense real quick. Andrew Sisko, really good safety. Tyson Campbell, really good corner. Devin Lloyd, a nice linebacker. Alua Khan is a great linebacker. Trayvon Walker, the rush edges with Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen are maybe the most underrated in the entire NFL. This team is really good. And it's a shame that Doug Peterson literally just doesn't have a clue. He hates Trevor Lawrence. He's throwing shots at him in the media every single week. And I said it a few weeks ago. I don't know if it was on here. I was talking to somebody else. I was like, no one is going to appreciate Trevor Lawrence until he gets traded to another team and wins a Super Bowl, like
Yeah.
how Drew Brees did. And I think that getting a coach of the caliber as Bill Belichick in the building to work alongside, bring his staff. I don't care if he brings his staff in. He should bring his staff in.
The Jags front office shouldn't care either. They've been dog shit.
Real quick, as a head coach, 6 Super Bowl champions, 3 coaches of the year, 2000s all-decade team, NFL records, most Super Bowl wins, 8, most Super Bowl wins as a head coach, 6, most Super Bowl appearances, 12, most Super Bowl appearances as a head coach, 9, most playoff wins as a head coach, 31, most playoff appearances as a head coach, 19 tied, most divisional championships as a head coach. For everybody who has sold their Bill Belichick stock, I'm buying every single last share of it. He is the best coach in our generation for a reason. I think that if you give him this roster, and I think, like you said, they're going to have a good pick this year. They're going to be in the top 5 probably, realistically. You go, and I don't know exactly what they need. I'd probably say right now, probably either O-line or secondary help. If you go and get either O-line or secondary help, like I saw maybe a Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you know who would look sick?
So I think that being in a position to draft at the top of the board and getting somebody in like Bill Belichick, Trevor Lawrence is not the problem. Hate to tell it, people. Before he got hurt, he was playing at a very high level. That team's just not good. So I'm right with you. What else do you have? Because I had the same thing. I said 2 bona fide pass rushers. Like, you give Bill Belichick this defense, they're disgusting. I don't care what anyone says.
Do you remember maybe over the summer or like last offseason when we were talking about places that we thought Bill Belichick would go, and one of the team might have been Bill Simmons might have brought it up, and I think we touched on it at one point, but one of the teams that we thought Bill Belichick would be a good fit for and was the Los Angeles Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this Jacksonville Jaguars team is the East Coast version of the Los Angeles Chargers
from 2 years ago.
From 2 years ago,
got there.
Before Harbaugh got there. I think you bring in a guy that can establish the culture, and there's already good players in place. I think the Jacksonville roster, the way that it's built today, is better than it was before Harbaugh got there, like for what Harbaugh was dealing with. You can't give up on Trevor Lawrence at this point. You signed him to a huge contract. I think Justin Herbert was playing better football at the time when we had this conversation, or was prior to him getting injured. But I think that this Jaguars team is pretty much built exactly the same way as the Los Angeles Chargers. They had talent on both sides of the football. They just needed somebody to come in there and with a proven record that can establish a culture, that can put together a locker room, that can make things easy for both sides of the football. And I think that's exactly what Bill Belichick would do for this Jaguars team.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I just think out of all the teams on the board, it makes the most sense. And I absolutely love that they have the quarterback in place, but they're going to be picking at the top of the board next year and could get a key difference maker. Like I said, like a Travis Hunter, like it would be absolutely a game changer to get somebody like that in the building. So it sounds like me and you are in lockstep of that, but do you have anything else that you want to add?
I just want to look and see where the Jags are currently picking first.
Crazy.
So
what time out? What if the Jags are picking first? They don't need a quarterback. There's a team sitting at 3 that's willing, or 2, whatever, willing to trade up to 1 and give a king's ransom and get that number 1 overall pick, get that quarterback that they want, and then still get Travis Hunter at like 2 or 3.
This mock draft has them taking Travis Hunter first overall.
You could, but I just think it's a prime position to go back and get some assets.
Yeah. Why not? You could end up trading with. I mean, there's going to be the Giants need a quarterback. Tennessee needs a quarterback. The Raiders need a quarterback. Pretty much other than that, the rest of the teams have a guy for now. So I can't see them like trading up to take a quarterback, but crazier things have happened, like we saw obviously with the Falcons last year. They could easily go back to like 5-6 somewhere in there, and I can see a world 100% where Travis Hunter falls to like 5 or 6. You pick up another second round pick because hey, the Tennessee Titans absolutely love Shadur Sanders, and they want to bring him in to Tennessee or something. You get the point I'm trying to make. Yeah, somebody loves one of these quarterbacks and wants to make a move and is worried about whoever the number 2 team is taking their guy. So
timeout. Listen to this. The Jacksonville Jaguars home stadium is undergoing a significant renovation and expansion in October of 2024. The NFL owners unanimously approved a $1.4 million agreement between the Jaguars and the city of Jacksonville for the Stadium of the Future project. I mean,
that has Bill Belichick written all over it.
I mean, get Bill Belichick in there, put some more asses in the seats, win a lot of football games. I think that division as well. The Colts are a dumpster fire. The Titans are a dumpster fire. And I think as of right now, like you look at the Texans on a week-to-week basis, like they're so hit or miss. Like they do have some good young players. Like I think Will Anderson and CJ are going to be good for a really long time. I think Nico will probably be pretty good too. But outside of that, like that team, like they're hit or miss on a week-to-week basis. So I think that division for him makes sense as well. He can walk in there and I think comfortably win 8 to 9 games no matter what.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I want to preface this. I want to say that we didn't talk about who we picked prior to this. So the odds of us both picking the Jags were pretty low.
1 in 32.
Like.
1 in 32.
Whatever that percentage. Do you want to know another team that I sneaky like him going to?
Yeah, sure.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I don't know. I just find it maybe. I don't know. I find it.
That's why it's the ultimate dark horse for me.
It would be so weird to see him in Cincinnati.
It would be very weird.
Who the hell?
A very tough division.
And he's older, like move to Florida. Like you're moving to Florida, like you're older and moving to Cincinnati and playing Pittsburgh twice a year, the Ravens twice a year, and the Browns twice a year. Like that is a good dark horse, but it would be a weird move for him.
Yeah, the thing that like really played into it was they already have Joe Burrow, like they already have Jamar Chase. The things that didn't really make too much sense were, they have Lou Anarumo, who's good, and I like him. But the willingness to bring in talent and spend money piece didn't make sense for the Bengals. The division piece didn't make sense for the Bengals because they don't spend money or bring in talent. I think they've made 5 trades in their entire existence as a franchise, and one of them just so happened to be Khalil Herbert. And then they play in like the toughest division in football.
Hey, I completely agree with you. So sounds like those are the teams that we don't think Bill Belichick's going to, and then we both agree on the team that he will be coaching for the 2025 football season.
White clouds blowing out when we max 4-5, not the size, but it kick up highlight of my life, man.